Well, good morning, everyone. So thank you very much for coming along this morning. Can I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we gather and pay my respects to the elders past and present. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces, but also some new ones from right across the startup community, industry and research base join us here this morning. Thank you very much to Professor Peter Coldrake for hosting us today, and a warm welcome to all of the senior representatives from our great universities in Queensland. The Chief Scientist, Dr. Jeff Garrett, is also with us today. Thank you very much. As well as my Deputy Premier, Jackie Trad, the Treasurer, Curtis Pitt, Health Minister, Cameron Dick, my Education Minister, Kate Jones, and Science and Innovation Minister, Leanne Enoch. Of course, Curtis is putting the final touches on the budget, and it'll be delivered tomorrow, and it'll be the first budget of our government. It is no accident that we have chosen today to announce this policy, the day before the budget. That's because Advance Queensland is not only at the core of tomorrow's budget, but I believe it's at the core of our state's economic agenda. Historically, Queensland's economic story has been anchored by its natural strengths. Those traditional strengths need to be fostered and they need to be encouraged. But we must also open our eyes to new possibilities. Our main competitors are investing heavily in innovation, science, and tackling the challenges of this century and the next. We can't just follow the pack. We need to lead the pack. Friends, Queenslanders would have heard me say one word many times: jobs. That's because job creation and protection is at the heart of what I'm talking about. My Advance Queensland policy and tomorrow's budget isn't just about jobs now, it's about jobs for the future. And where Advance Queensland fits in is simple. Advance Queensland is about bridging the gap between great ideas and the jobs that they can lead to. It is about empowering our best and brightest entrepreneurs, innovators and thinkers, and translating their work into commercial success. Because that means, and there's that word again, jobs. But what jobs am I talking about? Queensland mums and dads want to know, are there jobs and opportunities for me? What does it mean for my kids and our future? New ideas and technologies are transforming every single aspect of our lives. Medicine, food products, clothing, communications, fuels, the list goes on. For example, when a scientist develops a new way of processing biomass into biofuels, and industry decides to invest, it provides opportunities not just for the farmers now, but also into the future. But it's not just about the jobs on the farms either. It's service jobs in local towns and jobs at processing plants. Then there's the jobs in logistics, infrastructure and the supply chain, construction and transport, specialised jobs like chemical storage and disposal. The examples are everywhere. When an engineer develops a new device for less invasive heart surgery, it will create materials manufacturing jobs. And with the advancements in robotics and IT, we can't yet imagine the true scope of what is possible. Which is exactly my point. The possibilities are endless. Many opportunities are unimaginable. We must become the state that commercialises our innovations, not the state that loses the jobs because of them. It's up to us to work together to make that happen. And I believe that the Advance Queensland policy is the catalyst to make this happen. It's important at this point to reflect on the success we have had as a state together. In 1998, the Beattie Labor government began investing heavily in research infrastructure and skills through the Smart State strategy. In fact, between 1998 and 2012, Labor governments invested around $4.9 billion in our knowledge industries and life sciences. Add to that the co-investment from the Commonwealth Government, the universities and the philanthropic sector, and that total amount invested is around $8.2 billion. In the life sciences alone, we now have 47 research institutions here, with some of the world's best minds tackling challenges from cancer vaccines to pain medications and everything in between. Having those institutions has allowed us to attract some of the world's best research talent, while at the same time enabling us to keep our best talent here at home. All that has resulted in an international reputation for science and research excellence that sets us apart from the rest. And there's no doubt that we've had some extraordinary commercial success. Gardasil and Spinifex, Halfbrick Studios and Red Eye, all example of discoveries and ideas developed here at home in Queensland that have gone on to attract global investment. But ever since I started my Advanced Queensland consultation process when I was opposition leader, up to and including the 2 recent trade missions to the US and Singapore as Premier, there has been one constant feedback, and that is, we have many promising ideas, but we need to ramp up our capacity to turn those ideas into investment, ready business proposals. If we want to turn great ideas into jobs, we need to attract investors. And so now I turn to the details of the Advanced Queensland policy. You may recall that I took to the election campaign a $50 million Advanced Queensland program that sought to support our university sector and encourage new investment. Well, the Advanced Queensland policy I announced today goes much further. It speaks to what we need to do to not only strengthen our research talent base, but to create a thriving startup culture and a vibrant venture capital sector. It also provides new support to ensure the future generation of Queenslanders have the science, technology, engineering and maths skills, or STEM as it's known, creative and entrepreneurial skill to shape the future. At the core of tomorrow's budget will be a $180 million Advanced Queensland package. It will deliver jobs now and will create jobs for the future. The key elements of the policy are a $50 million Advanced Queensland Best and Brightest Fund, which will develop, attract and retain world-class talent, both scientific and entrepreneurial. A $46 million Advanced Queensland Future Jobs Strategy, which will open the door to new industry research collaborations, tackling the big innovation challenges, focus on translation and deliver 10-year roadmaps for industries with global growth potential. A $76 million business investment attraction package, which will encourage a new wave of Queensland startups, support proof of concept projects and attract co-investment through the Business Development Fund. And $8 million will be set aside to give us flexibility to respond to new opportunities as they arise, especially as we develop roadmaps with industry. This, friends, is a comprehensive suite of reforms that I believe will be a game changer for this sector and a game changer for the Queensland economy. The $50 million Advanced Queensland Best and Brightest Fund has several elements. As I promised during the election campaign, we will invest in a series of fellowships and scholarships at our research institutions. If we don't act now, a lot of our best and emerging talent will leave the shores for better opportunities, because I can assure you that the competition out there is intense. When I was in the United States, we were told that many of Caltech's best robotics researchers had actually been poached by Uber. Whether it's universities or the private sector, there is a global fight for talent that we can't afford to lose. The second element is around global partnership awards. We need to recognise that as good as we are in many areas, there is so much we can learn from the major players overseas. Our global partnership awards will see graduates and emerging entrepreneurs be offered the chance to learn from a stint in an overseas research institution or work in a major company. We need to learn from the best, whether it's in Boston or Bangalore or Silicon Valley or Singapore. And the program won't just be one of benefits for individuals. It will allow all of us at all levels to create stronger partnerships and access new customers or investors. We will also be supporting knowledge transfer partnerships, enabling SMEs to have postgraduate students work in their company on projects that will help deliver their products or services. And finally, as part of our Best and Brightest initiative, we will undertake a future schools review of the teaching of science, technology, engineering and maths, and how it will be expanded into Queensland schools. Our goal is to make sure our students are at the cutting edge of innovation through the development of skills to become the technology architects of the digital age. This will include an assessment of coding and computer science, as well as early stage robotics, something I firmly believe should be part of our education system at a very early age. We will also transform the teaching of STEM through focused professional development, teacher scholarships, and by working more closely with our universities to ensure we can better provide inspirational teachers of STEM subjects in all of our schools. The review will be undertaken by a team of independent experts, and I expect it to be completed by the end of the year. Those 4 initiatives, as part of the $50 million Advance Queensland Best and Brightest Fund, are about investing in our greatest asset, which is our people. The $46 million Advance Queensland Future Jobs Strategy will focus on collaborations and initiatives today that can deliver the industries and the jobs of tomorrow. The first tranche of funding in the Future Jobs Strategy will consolidate 3 major partnerships that will help deliver the ultimate goal of turning ideas into jobs. Queensland has world-recognised excellence in medical biotechnology research. With new government support, the aim is to translate a greater number of discoveries into healthcare products and treatments. In the US, at the Bio Conference in Philadelphia, I was fortunate to catch up with Vice-Chancellor Peter Hoy from University of Queensland and Professor Dennis Liotta from Emory University in Atlanta. Professor Liotta is the scientist behind the world's leading HIV treatments. He has had as much success at commercialising discoveries as anyone else has in the world. Professor Liotta has chosen Queensland and the University of Queensland to collaborate on a new drug discovery initiative. My government will provide initial seed funding to get this project up and running. We will also invest in a new partnership between the Translational Research Institute and global technology giant Siemens, called the Siemens Innovation and Translation Centre. Siemens and their partners at Massachusetts General Hospital are world leaders when it comes to the field of MRI scans. And today, I'm very excited to announce that over the weekend, the world's biggest pharmaceutical company, Johnson & Johnson, has signed a memorandum of understanding with QUT and the Queensland Government. A new Johnson & Johnson partnering office at QUT will facilitate access to the vast resources and expertise across Johnson & Johnson's scientific research, investor and commercial business sectors to help build, nurture and accelerate the local life science ecosystem. Whilst based at QUT, this will reach out to partners across the state and the Asia Pacific. I'm very pleased to say that I had meetings with the partners involved in all 3 projects when I was in the United States, and I'm delighted to see that those meetings are bearing fruit for Queensland. Aside from the discoveries and advances these projects make, they will also act as a magnet for innovators across Australia, Asia and the rest of the world to consider Brisbane as a potential location for business, both medical and non-medical. The Advanced Queensland Future Jobs Strategy will also include something I'm particularly excited about. The $19 million Innovations Challenge will identify emerging needs and immediate demands and ask researchers and industry to combine together to provide the answers. This is about encouraging collaboration in order to get the very best results. Those questions could be related to agriculture, marine science, renewable energy, or IT, or health services delivery, among many others. It is a globally successful model where our best innovators rise to the challenge, and I know our startup researchers and industry partners are up to it. One of the first challenges that my government will set is around biofuels. I was fortunate to meet with senior representatives from the United States Navy on their green fleet plans for Queensland and discuss the role that we can play in supplying the biofuels that they need for the future. We cannot wait for the world. We must tell the world that we are ready. One of the most important elements I'm announcing today is that the future jobs strategy will include funding that will see government work with industry and academic partners to develop a 10-year industry roadmaps for emerging industries. If you want to be a global innovations leader, you have to articulate to the world a long-term plan. It will help identify the policies, regulations, the removal of unnecessary red tape and settings that can best provide the certainty to help people invest and the new industries to emerge. I can assure you that we will be consulting heavily during this process, and I'll do everything within my power to ensure that it has the support of the Parliament now and for future generations. And we have the track record. We know that Queensland has the track record. Look no further than our world-class LNG industry, which is now exporting gas from Queensland to the world. Queensland can foster new industries. We can create new industries. The third element of my Advanced Queensland plan is one that I know is particularly close to the Treasurer's heart. It is also the area which I think we need our heaviest focus. As a government, we know that the real driver of economic change are entrepreneurs and ambitious businesses. Every big corporate starts as an emerging business who took a chance. Startups can reshape entire industries through technology and business model innovation. They are vital for job creation and prosperity. In fact, studies have found that each technology job created leads to 5 additional jobs in other sectors. This can be simply because of the relative lack of available capital here in Australia, or because our skills are currently better suited to develop the ideas rather than selling them. Unfortunately, only 7% of Australia's tech startups are in Brisbane. That's something we must change. My government will establish a $24 million Startup Queensland program to increase startup formation and attraction to Queensland. We want to play our role in backing successful programs that help ambitious businesses to access the support needed for accelerated growth. We want to work with existing incubators and accelerator programs to provide an integrated suite of seed funding, co-working space, mentoring and connection to customers and markets. And we want to explore an R&D tax credit matching program for early stage companies. We need to have bold action if we are to create a deeper pool of investment-ready businesses here in Queensland. We will also pilot a Queensland Small Business Research Initiative based on the highly successful models in the US and the UK. This competition-based program will generate new business opportunities for SMEs, a route to market for their ideas and bridges the seed funding gap experienced by early-stage companies. The second major element, the Business Investment Attraction Package, comprising $52 million in dedication funding, will improve access to finance and management support for startups and SMEs. This will include a $12 million Queensland commercialisation program to support proof of concept projects designed to lead to new products and to new services, and will include a $40 million business development fund. Through the Business Development Fund, government will provide seed co-investment to match and encourage greater angel and venture capital investment in Queensland businesses. This model has been very successful as we look around the world in countries such as Israel, the UK and New Zealand to build a vibrant angel and venture capital sector. In New Zealand alone, it has leveraged around over $3 of private investment for every $1 of government investment. The Business Development Fund could help many Queensland businesses translate their ideas into products and services and access global export markets. And if we can get those businesses over the line, who knows how many more jobs it will create and how big an economic windfall we could create right here in Queensland. Friends, my government's first state budget tomorrow will deliver on our economic commitments and will outline very clearly our economic agenda. As I said earlier, the Advanced Queensland package I've announced today is central to that agenda. My vision for the state is very clear. We must create the knowledge-based industries of the future. We must look to become a regional investment and innovation hub, a launchpad into Asia for some of the biggest players in the world. We have the people, we have the ideas, we have the infrastructure. We share the same time zone as Asia, and we have a lifestyle that is the envy of the world. But there are missing links. We need much greater collaboration and movement between the science base and the business community, especially overseas. We need a bigger pipeline of world-leading investment-ready business opportunities. And we need the private sector capital and skills to turn these opportunities into products, profits, and jobs. We are determined to send a very clear message to the investment world that we are serious about putting these links into place. I'm not suggesting that transforming our ideas into the jobs of the future will be easy. And I'm proud of the fact that these reforms aren't just about delivering immediate results, although I believe some of them will. Advanced Queensland is about playing the long game, because the reality is many of the projects can take years to come to fruition. For those that say there is no role for government in this space, I say to them, you are very, very wrong. Look at Singapore, Denmark, the United States, and China, among others. Governments are investing heavily to pursue innovation-led smart growth. Governments can help to create and shape markets before getting out of the way. I believe Advanced Queensland gives us the opportunities to take up that challenge. It gives us every chance to solve global challenges, to seize the opportunities before us in the growing markets, to fight for investment dollars, and to create fundamentally the jobs for the future. If we're going to build a stronger, more diversified economy and create the jobs of the future, now is the time to back ourselves. My government is committed to working with you in playing our role in making sure that happens. Thank you very much for coming along today, and please join us in the journey as we are committed to diversifying our economy and creating the jobs for now and the jobs for the future. Thank you.